I appreciate DLC and everything that you're doing in the community to empower others to be happy, to live in abundance. And I want to talk today about incubating happiness in our businesses to scale a business. Before the break, we had mentioned compassionate capitalism. I'd written a book about connecting to goodness, to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of our own potential or collective consciousness, a business potential. And both Connected to Goodness and Compassionate Capitalism, both books that I've written, illustrate how we do that. And the key is to, number one, to be consistent with our values, and then provide daily practices in order to execute that consistency so that we are persistent in the pursuit of the truth and the potential to be happy, to be abundant, to make a lot of money, to help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. And so the first thing that we need to do is to not only have values within our company or corporation, but actually consistently teach them, reinforce them. For me, there's 4 key values, foundational values that a business can have that aligns with giving meaning to the defined moments, the failures, setbacks, mistakes, even successes, historical relevances of our past, to align with a trajectory of where we think we want to be or better. And those values have key components that allow us to enjoy that ability, that trajectory. And those values are, number one, simple gratitude. Simple gratitude gives us the perspective as a collective, as a business, to find not only the light in every situation, every person, every event and circumstance, not only the love, the higher vibration, the frequency of abundance, but the lesson, allowing us to continue the pursuit of where we think we want to be as an organization or better, not allowing the meaning of those defining moments, setbacks, failures, and mistakes of our individual and company efforts to deter us from that trajectory. The only thing that limits us is our own self-image of ourselves in the future. We can never overachieve the self-image that we create. And in order to create the abundant, unlimited, infinite, unified system of thought that's necessary to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, we need to give that meaning, the light, the love, and the lessons through gratitude, which gives us the perspective to achieve even more for the betterment of all. The second value is forgiveness. Simple forgiveness taught in alignment with gratitude to allow ourselves to live at ease, to, instead of trying to get more happiness at work, more wealthy at work, more worthiness at work, instead teaching forgiveness to allow ease instead of dis-ease, to identify what are we doing to interfere with our happiness, our health, our wealth, and our worthiness as a collective, as an organization, as a business. The third value that we lean upon is accountability. And there's 3 phases of accountability within the construct of a business in order to effectuate the aggregation, the compounding exponentiality of the outcomes that we want, and the acceleration of our ability to create wealth, to help more people, and have more fun with the activities that we get paid for. And the first stage of accountability is simple responsibility. What did we do as an organization to be responsible for this, and what are we supposed to learn from it? The second phase is one more in an energetic aspect of what did we do to attract this to our individual selves or organization, and what are we supposed to learn from it? But the third one coordinates both gratitude and forgiveness by asking ourselves as leaders who want to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of our potential, asking ourselves, what are we doing to participate in the perception, and what are we supposed to learn from it? When we utilize gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability within the construct of enjoying the pursuit of our potential, not what other people think, not what's missing, not what we don't have, but what we think is important to us in our organization, we then can effectuate the fourth value of effective communication that says, we are going to clear the interference between us and others, but even more importantly, we are going to clear the interference between us and our potential, the truth. Whatever that may be for you and your organization, whatever religion, philosophy, theory, whatever spirituality that you carry, there's one simple truth, that we are all part of a unified, infinite, abundant system of thought that has a source, however you identify it, that knows everything and loves you more than your mom. And with that faith, in a corporate sense, in a business sense, to utilize the past setbacks, failures, mistakes, successes, defining moments, historical relevances in order to align with the meaning that the gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication can give us a higher frequency, a higher vibration, a higher awareness that includes intelligence, intuition, and inspiration every day, consistently, persistently, in the pursuit of your potential. Now, in order to execute on that consistent pursuit, we need practices, and I've created 5 daily practices to utilize within your organizations and your own individual self. And the first one is to remember, remind, and recollect, what is it that we think we want in the future or better? Personally, experientially, giving and receiving. What is it we want aligned with the meaning of the past in a trajectory of what we think we want in the future or better? And the second daily practice is who? Who can we help with what we want, and who can help us? When we know what we want, we take the nothingness and turn it into a possibility. But when we know who we can help and who can help us, we turn that possibility into a probability. The third step to derive this trajectory of aggregation, compounding, and acceleration in a trajectory of what we think we want to create abundance, help people, and have fun is to know your how. And if we can effectuate the lenses in which we look at the activities in the day, the activities we have planned, we don't have planned, even our sleep, the activity that we get paid for, and the activity we don't get paid for. If we can utilize a lens of, number one, productivity, of how much value are we going to provide, and accessibility, how accessible are we to those within our organization and those outside of it. And then finally, the simple lens of gratitude, to be able to practice gratitude, to find the light, the love, and the lessons in all of those activities. And if you know who, if you know what, and you know how, you will know what's important to you. You know what you want, it's a possibility. You know who we can help and who can help you, it's a probability. When you know how, through the lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, you now have a perspective that leads you in an accelerated, aggregated, compounding trajectory of what you want or better. The fourth daily practice that is a confirmation of the importance, it is also an antidote to the biggest interference between our success and enjoyment of our pursuit of our potential, is prioritization. Prioritization is the antidote to procrastination, is the antidote to feeling overwhelmed, two of the big nemesises to the engagement and productivity of our companies and our personal lives. When we know what, who, and how, we now can prioritize the now, knowing 100% of the things we do now get done, knowing that if we know what to do now and know what we do next, we're going to be the most efficient, effective, and statistically successful people, organizations that we can in the pursuit of our potential, our happiness, our whole. If you know what, who, and how, we now prioritize the now and the next, which allows us to utilize the fifth daily practice of why. Not searching for your why, not searching for more happiness, more health, more wealth, more worthiness, but instead living in faith of enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit by saying, we are, as an organization, and I am individually happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy. What are we doing to interfere with it? And when we now know what we are, that we are part of a system, a unified, abundant, infinite system of thought that loves us more than our mom and protects and promotes us with all the setbacks, mistakes, and failures, we can live our lives, both personally and professionally, applying our why, applying our intellect, our intuition, and our inspiration for more, enough of everything for everyone.
Hey, David. It's always a pleasure to speak to you and listen to your words of wisdom, whether it's in New York or whether it's in Mumbai. You know, we are having an uphill task against us. Members of DLC, entrepreneurs across the world, and managements across the world, we began to realize happiness is something that is not primemost on their agenda, even though they want to die happy. Almost unanimously, entrepreneurs across the world want to die happy, but they do not wish to spend any time learning and taming this animal called happiness, understanding it, and thereby spreading happiness within their own lives, their family, their organizations they lead, and society by and large. What are your views on it? Because you speak to managements, you train people, you speak to people across the world. How do you kind of emphasize the need for learning the subject of happiness and then working the rest of your remaining life in pursuit of happiness?
Yeah, well, I think I'm actually friends with Chris Gardner, who wrote the book and did the movie with Will Smith, Pursuit of Happiness. And I think the first paradigm shift that we have to do within organizations is teach detachment of emotions. You see, even within the context of teaching or inspiring people to pursue happiness, leaves a void, shortage, and obstacle that creates that resistance that you're talking about in most organizations from the leadership down. What I prefer to teach and empower people is that happiness is the pursuit. And when we can shift that paradigm to detach our emotions from outcomes, but instead utilize these practices as behaviors that aggregate, compound, and accelerate us towards a trajectory of what we think we want or better, not limiting ourselves by our own self-image, but instead taking place in part and parcel to participate in a unified, abundant, infinite system that has more than enough of everyone for everyone. If we can shift the perspective by utilizing the mathematical equation of abundance, which is let's all pay attention to what we want, who we can help, and how to get it done. Let's prioritize it by giving our intention, and there's 5 daily practices of that intention, which is, am I doing everything that I can today in a trajectory of what I think I want or better in the future, by giving the meaning to the lessons of the failures, mistakes, setbacks, void, shortages, and obstacles, successes, defining moments, historical references that usually limit us from our potential. And so if we can shift the paradigm by teaching people there is happiness that's derived from the pursuit, not the happiness itself. And there's many studies, scientific, health studies, philosophical, theoretical, scientific studies that tell you happiness is in the pursuit. So we have to empower people not only to do in the trajectory, but say in the trajectory, think in the trajectory, believe in that trajectory, and feel it each day in the trajectory of what we think we want or better. No longer can we run organizations that live in a world of not enough, where everyone feels like they're victims and things are happening to us. No longer should we live in a world of just enough for me, where everything is a trade and negotiation, living in a zero-sum game, not a value-add game. Buying things you don't need to impress people you don't like. Everything trading and negotiating, but instead empower your companies, empower your communities to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential by doing, saying, thinking, believing, and feeling in the trajectory of what you think you want or better, by living in a world, a value-add world of more than enough of everything for everyone, where you can appreciate everything, acknowledge it by giving it away, and asking for more. Everyone, I hope that this helps you get some clarity, balance, and focus on happiness and how to utilize it to create abundance.
Wow, David, that was prolific, lovely. I'm sure we can do a loud round of applause for David. It's always amazing to hear you. If there's any other question for David? Well, We are grateful to you for taking time off for us and looking forward to catching up with you in New York. Cheers, David. See ya. Bye.
Thank you.